So, let's talk about September 2nd. Something really weird happened in the U.S. ag markets. It was one of those days where it felt like the entire market just split right in two, creating these totally different realities for two of America's most important crops.
All right, so check this out. On one side, you've got corn futures, and they're rallying, hitting new highs for the month. But on the other side, soybean futures absolutely took a nosedive, hitting their lowest point in more than a week. I mean, we're talking about crops that literally grow in neighboring fields, and on the same day, they were heading in completely opposite directions.
So you have to ask, right? How on earth does that happen? What kind of forces can pull two markets that are so closely related, so far apart, so incredibly fast? Well, let's dig in and unpack this mystery.
Okay, let's start with corn. And the story here is a classic tale of what the government thinks is happening versus what farmers and traders know is happening out in the real world.
It really all boils down to this one number. The U.S. Department of Agriculture came out with this huge, super optimistic forecast. We're talking 188.8 bushels per acre. I mean, if that actually happened, it'd be a record breaker for sure.
But here's the thing. The market, it's just not buying it. Not at all. You talk to traders, analysts, the folks actually out in the fields, and they're all saying the same thing. That's not reality. They're all betting that the real number is going to come way, way down.
And this isn't just a hunch, It's based on some serious problems happening on the ground. Think of it like a perfect storm hitting right at the worst possible time. You've got crop diseases like southern rust and tar spot popping up, and then boom, a flash drought just bakes some of the most important states. We're talking the driest August in over 130 years for places like Ohio and Indiana. Just brutal.
So what's the result of all this? You get what the experts are calling a corn-led rally. Speculators are jumping in and buying up corn futures, which are just promises to buy corn later at a set price. Why? Because they're betting the actual supply is going to be way smaller than the government says. And if they're right, those prices are going to skyrocket.
Okay, so that's the story for corn. Now let's switch gears completely and talk about soybeans. Because with beans, it's not about the weather or how much is growing. Nope. It's about a massive gaping hole where its number one customer used to be, China.
And this right here, this number says it all. 0, as in none. For the new marketing year, China has bought exactly 0 new crop soybeans from the U.S. Think about that for a second. The biggest buyer on the planet just ghosted him. It's a huge flashing red light for the entire market.
And this isn't some new, one-off thing. It's a trend that's been getting worse and worse. You can see here how after that peak back in 2022, it's just been a steady slide downhill. And it's no secret why. This is a direct result of the ongoing trade dispute and the tariffs.
And what happens when your top customer leaves? Well, the whole leaderboard gets shuffled. The USDA is now projecting that China, which was always in the top 3, is on track to drop all the way down to number 6. That leaves a massive hole in demand that other countries just can't fill.
And you better believe China isn't just sitting on its hands. It's making moves. They're actively going out and signing new deals with other countries, places like Argentina and Uruguay in South America. They are literally building brand new supply chains designed to bypass the U.S. completely.
So, let's pull back for a second. When you zoom out, you realize this is so much bigger than just weather reports or spreadsheets. What we're seeing in the corn and soybean markets, it's a symptom of a massive shift in global politics. This is geopolitics playing out in real time, right in America's fields.
And you don't have to look far for proof. You've got the leaders of Russia, China, and India all meeting, shaking hands. They're not being subtle about it either. They're building a powerful economic and political team, and a lot of analysts see it as an anti-U.S. bloc, specifically designed to counter American trade policy.
So what you have here are two totally different playbooks. It's like two teams on a field with different game plans. The U.S. is using tariffs, trying to get one-on-one deals. This new bloc, they're all about teamwork, creating new trade routes that don't even involve the U.S. And American soybeans are stuck right in the middle of this tug-of-war. Now, you'd think, hey, our U.S. court just said these tariffs are illegal. That should fix things, right? Nope. The market basically just yawned. Everybody expects an appeal to the Supreme Court, and the bottom line is nobody believes this trade war posture is changing anytime soon.
Okay, so after all this talk about global politics and markets, let's bring it back home. What does this actually mean for the folks with dirt on their boots? All of this stuff,
The weather, the politics, the trade deals, it all lands squarely on the shoulders of the American farmer, and they're facing a harvest filled with just total uncertainty.
And you can really hear the strain in this warning from a growers association. They're just getting squeezed from every single direction. Prices are weak, the cost of everything they need to grow is going up, and some of their biggest, most reliable customers are vanishing. It's an almost impossible situation.
So there you have it, the whole tale of two crops right here in a nutshell. Corn's fate is being driven by what's happening at home, the weather, the diseases, which has traders feeling bullish, thinking prices will rise. Soybeans, on the other hand, their story is being written by international politics, leading to a bearish outlook where everyone expects prices to fall. It's just wild. Two crops, planted right next to each other, living in completely different economic universes.
And that really leaves us with this one giant question, doesn't it? If you're that farmer standing out in your field, what's going to define your year? Is it going to be the skill and the sweat you put into your harvest, the actual bushels you pull from the ground? Or is it going to be a signature on some piece of paper in a capital city thousands of miles away? That's the billion-dollar question.